Here's more wrestling news for October 6, 2025. Your headlines for this afternoon include: don't hire him, AEW boss advised against signing ex-WWE star. Triple H under fire again, Bloodline legend calls out WWE booking. Ex-WWE star slams Brock Lesnar, accuses him of going into business for himself. WWE x TNA crossover grows, two big names officially named referees for NXT Showdown. Trish Stratus shares heartfelt message following major Hall of Fame announcement. Killer Kross set to return, major appearance officially announced. AEW abruptly makes huge change, and more. Tony Khan has been steadily expanding AEW's roster, bringing in big names and surprise signings since his launch. While AEW has earned a reputation for picking up former WWE talent, not every free agent is viewed as a smart investment, and one in particular has reportedly raised red flags within the company. With several notable former WWE names like Braun Strowman and Cora Jade currently on the open market, Khan technically has his pick of talent. But according to multiple reports, AEW executives have been advised against pursuing Matt Riddle. The original Bro was released from WWE following a series of failed drug tests and a public incident at JFK Airport that drew unwanted attention. However, it's not just his past controversies that concern AEW management. Sources say Riddle's unpredictable backstage behavior and attitude have also made him a risky signing in the eyes of Tony Khan and the creative team. For now, it seems AEW will steer clear of bringing Riddle into the fold, no matter how talented he may be inside the ring. Do you think Tony Khan is making the right call by avoiding Matt Riddle, or could AEW still benefit from giving him one more shot? Share your thoughts below. WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi, who has never been one to hold back his opinions, once again spoke out recently, voicing his complaints about Triple H's booking decisions. On the latest Off the Top podcast, Rikishi discussed Jacob Fatu's status in WWE, making it clear he's not happy with how the company is booking his nephew right now, as he felt he'd be a much bigger star than he is right now. This kid here, as far as the talent that he has in and out of the squared circle, and again, I've always said this from the beginning, that if you book Jacob with the right people, you're gonna get money out of this kid here. Because the thing that he does in the ring, I still don't think that they booked him with the right people and lit gasoline up behind him to really push this thing to make it work. It's just been this little tease. We see Jacob's skills, we see his talent, we see his popularity is just catching on fire. Like, you can see the top of the hill, but you ain't got over yet. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even think he's on the porch yet. He should be in the house having some sweet tea by now. Fatu attacked Drew McIntyre on his return to WWE television lately, which could be a sign of what's to come for his immediate future. However, what do you make of WWE's booking of the Samoan Werewolf, and do you think he could be used better? Another man who has no problem voicing his opinion is Matt Riddle, and he is once again in the news for all the wrong reasons ever since his TMZ Sports Inside the Ring interview concluded. Riddle made several controversial comments during the interview, including one about Brock Lesnar, which involved a story about the 2022 Elimination Chamber event in Saudi Arabia. According to the former United States champion, that match ended up finishing 15 minutes earlier than it should have because of Lesnar, who Riddle claims went into business for himself. I've worked with Brock a couple of times at Extreme Rules, Elimination Chamber in Saudi. He literally forgot what number he was supposed to come out. He punched the plexiglass door, which isn't super strong. Like, I can kick through it, but you're not supposed to, and then he bum rushed. He cut the match by 15 minutes because, like, he's like, oh, sell, like F5. He writes his own ticket, essentially. And then Paul Heyman pretended like it didn't happen or was like, oh, that was my mistake. And it's like, no, it wasn't. Yeah, him, dude. He just went into business for himself. At the time, it was claimed that Lesnar's pod malfunctioned, which is why he entered the match earlier than planned. Given Lesnar's years in the business, that's more likely the case than Lesnar forcing his entry into the match. Lesnar and Riddle have a history of tension between them, with Riddle reportedly causing issues by publicly pushing for a match with Lesnar. That was never in WWE's plans, as Riddle was in NXT at the time when he was pushing for this match, with the company having to tell him to stop tweeting at main roster talent, as Lesnar didn't appreciate it. Lesnar eventually confronted Riddle about the tweets in a backstage conversation at the 2020 Royal Rumble, where he made it clear a match wouldn't be happening, with this just being one of many incidents that took place throughout Riddle's time in the company. Elsewhere, AJ Styles made his presence felt at the highly anticipated UFC 320 event, creating a phenomenal moment for fans. TKO's official Twitter account uploaded a video of Styles in attendance at the event as he hyped it up by stating that it was going to be an absolutely phenomenal show. The event was headlined by Alex Pereira facing Magomed Ankalev, with Pereira picking up the win to tie them at 1-1. Styles wasn't the only wrestler to appear at a UFC event this year though, as Stephanie Vaquer, Drew McIntyre, and others have been part of shows in the past. Enjoying the video? A quick like goes a long way in helping us grow and deliver more wrestling news you care about. Speaking of major crossover events, this Tuesday the stars of NXT and TNA wrestling will collide for the major television special Showdown. However, as of a few days ago, Jordynne Grace wasn't set to appear, despite the fact that she arguably kicked off the partnership between the promotions. Given her history in TNA and WWE, Grace demanded that was changed, and earlier this week, NXT General Manager Ava did exactly that by adding her as a special guest referee for one of the matches. Jordan, you're right, you made some pretty good points, and you know what? I agree with you, Ava said in an X video. I don't think that there would be this NXT TNA crossover partnership without everything you've done starting 2 years ago. So I've decided that you're going to be the special guest referee for the Women's Survivor Series style match on Tuesday. Now with that said, I know you have a history with a lot of these women, so I'm asking you, please be professional and use your discretion. On the back of that announcement, Grace promised to call it down the middle, but NXT Women's Champion Jacy Jayne isn't so sure, as she shared a gif of a side-eyeing dog in the comments. Jade is set to lead Team NXT in the women's elimination match with Lola Vice, Sol Ruca, and Jada Parker by her side. They'll face TNA's team that is being led by an NXT star and the newly crowned TNA Knockouts champion, Kalani Jordan. She'll have Cassie Lee, Jessie McKay, and Mara Shade by her side, with NXT fans knowing the latter best as Jakara Jackson. Santino Marella also added to the news by confirming that the men's elimination match will feature a special guest referee, Joe Hendry, who is familiar with both promotions. NXT will be represented by Ricky Saints, Trick Williams, Javon Evans, and Miles Bourne. They'll face Moose, Leon Slater, Mike Santana, and Frankie Kazarian. Adding Hendry and Grace to the card is a positive move, but given their history, it's hard to imagine they'll call the encounters exactly down the middle, so there could be some shenanigans. WWE Hall of Famer Trish Stratus is one of the biggest stars in the history of the business, and she's now set to receive a major wrestling honor to showcase that fact. The 49-year-old shared a heartwarming message on social media to reveal the news, confirming she'll be inducted into the International Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. It's a huge honor for the 7-time women's champion to join other veterans announced to receive the honor, such as Tito Santana, Johnny Rodz, and the tag team of Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas. Stratus took to social media to confirm she was honored and excited to be joining the class of 2025, admitting that it means more to her than she can put into words. She continued by saying that while she's taken some time out of the spotlight lately after the loss of her mother, she felt this was the right event to step back in, even though she knows it'll be hard. Stratus thanked the fans for constantly showing her love, and she believes they'll give her the strength to return to the spotlight. In other news, Karrion Kross is set to make his return to one of his former promotions in November as he continues to reestablish himself outside of the WWE bubble. Kross departed WWE in August and has now been confirmed to appear in Major League Wrestling at the MLW X Don Gata Tequila Lucha de los Muertos event on November 20th. The company hyped it up with some cryptic imagery, with Kross having last worked for MLW back in 2022 as he defeated Matt Cross. Now he's set to make his return as an even bigger star, ready to cause more havoc. There are a few bigger names in the world of wrestling than Ric Flair, and he recently got a shout out from NFL icon Tom Brady on social media. The iconic NFL quarterback gave the Nate Jaboy a shout out during Fox's NFL coverage today. He used Flair's iconic "to be the man, you gotta beat the man" catchphrase when describing the Philadelphia Eagles, ensuring to name drop the iconic wrestler in the process. Flair found out about the comments and reacted to them online by posting on Instagram to say that Tom was spot on, thanking him for the shout out. It proves that no matter how many years pass, Flair's iconic status in the world of sports and pop culture will never fade away. Chris Jericho just marked 35 years in professional wrestling, and if his own words are any indication, his story is far from over. On October 2nd, Jericho took to social media with a heartfelt reflection on his very first match. Back in 1990, a 19-year-old Chris Jericho debuted against Lance Storm in Ponoka, Alberta, inside the modest Ponoka Moose Hall in front of just 85 people. He recalled every detail of that 10-minute draw, including being paid a grand total of $30. Crazy to think it's been 35 years to the day of my very first match. On October 2nd, 1990, I faced Lance Storm in Ponoka, Alberta at the Ponoka Moose Hall in front of about 85 people. The match ended in a 10-minute draw, and I remember every little thing as if it happened only yesterday. I got paid $30, a $20, and a $10. I've had a wonderful, amazing, one-in-a-million career since then, and I want to thank all of you from around the entire world for joining me for certain parts, or even all of it. And the good news is, it ain't over yet. Jericho hasn't appeared on AEW programming since April, taking a step back after a turbulent stretch in his most recent run. Reports suggest creative differences with Tony Khan have played a role in his absence, fueling speculation that with his AEW contract expiring at the end of 2025, a WWE return could be on the table. Still, AEW isn't ready to close the door. During an appearance on the Torg and Elliott show, Khan praised Jericho's importance to AEW. When asked point blank if fans would see the demo god back in the ring, Khan gave the classic promoter's tease, saying, "Well, I think you've got to stay tuned to the show." Khan may have chosen to play coy, but Jericho didn't dance around the subject quite as much. Jericho himself has addressed the WWE rumors. In an interview with the Daily Mail, he confirmed that he's open to the possibility of one last run, though nothing is decided just yet. "So I'm not going anywhere for a while, I'm still with AEW for right now. Would I go back to WWE? I wouldn't be opposed to it. We just have to see what happens. But the best thing that can happen is that you have two great teams that you can play for, and that just makes everything bigger and more exciting." For now, one thing is certain, Jericho isn't done. Whether it's a return to AEW television, a shocking WWE comeback, or something else entirely, the future holds at least one more big chapter for one of wrestling's greatest legends. Where do you think Chris Jericho should go next? Is AEW still the right home, or is it time for one final WWE run? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We're ending today with AEW news. The company has made a major change to one of its upcoming shows, which will be similar to this week's case, where AEW Dynamite will run for an extra 30 minutes. The company is hosting Title Tuesday next week ahead of their Homecoming week, with the show taking place at Daly's Place in Jacksonville. Homecoming Collision will also be taking place at the same venue and will be taped on Wednesday night in a blockbuster evening of action for fans in attendance. Last week, AEW celebrated its 6th anniversary of its flagship show with a special episode lasting 2.5 hours. It appears that next week's show will not only air on Tuesday night, but also have the same runtime. For all of our subscribers, don't miss the 9 a.m. Eastern video we dropped earlier today.